This is TWiT.
So it's only been a few weeks since Jared Isaacman was pulled from consideration, which, as far as I know, never happened before, at least not at that short a juncture before it was supposed to happen. So he will not be our NASA administrator. Janet Petro, who was a longtime KSC official, had been thrust into that role. And
is that me? What was that?
That's our timer. It's okay. And so she had been filling it, and ably, I think, she kind of had to toe the line between being as responsible as possible towards NASA's priorities and also responding to the White House priorities. And she kind of appeared to fall in line as not a Trump supporter, but a Trump policy enabler when it came to NASA. And then out of the blue comes an appointment of a new interim NASA administrator, Sean Duffy. I was in a meeting with a bunch of National Space Society heavyweights when this news came out, which I informed them. And to a person, they said, "Who?" And I said, "Sean Duffy, the Secretary of the Department of Transportation."
That's right. That's right. It's a Wednesday night. So we always record these on Fridays normally, and this actually happened Wednesday night. And so that it went out. And I tell you, so NASA now has their first reality TV show star alum chief with Sean Duffy.
Kill me with a spoon.
I had to do a crash course to actually understand who he was. And luckily, like Mike Wall, our spaceflight editor, has a great roundup of Duffy. Obviously, he's a transportation cabinet secretary, a former CNN, I think like a pundit, right?
Fox
or
News,
Fox,
not CNN.
Sorry.
That's like 180 degrees off.
Well, apparently he was a political commentator on CNN, and he was a lobbyist. Yeah.
That I didn't see.
Yeah, and so
reality TV star, Fox TV star,
Congress, right? He was in Congress,
congressman, and then
Wisconsin.
Finally, right, and then possibly most importantly, widely perceived as a Trump loyalist, which is probably what got
You forgot world-class title holder in logging in lumberjack sports, because he grew up doing that as a kid. So he has titles. He's kind of awesome. That part is pretty awesome.
Putin, you can see me riding my horse with my muscles thing going.
But it's interesting because it doesn't, through reading through his career, and again, I'm sure that you've seen, if you follow NASA, a lot of overviews of who Sean Duffy is. But Mike Wall has a really good rundown of his career overall. You don't see a lot of, I think space is great, and I'm gonna really get into the nitty gritty of it. And so it's unclear how much of an interest he has had career-wise in space or space exploration, or if there just wasn't anyone there, and this is an appointment of convenience, which would make a lot of sense to just say, hey, I've got this guy. He's very supportive of my policies with transportation. He's doing some work on FAA safety enhancements and stuff in the wake of the troubles that we've been having, especially in New Jersey.
He's got a lot of work ahead of him.
Yeah, and so we'll give him NASA on the interim basis so that we can have somebody in charge regularly. Janet Petro can go back to KSC, which she has done this week, to oversee the Space Center there, and then they can proceed with the administration's plans for NASA, which from a budgeting appointment, we were just talking about that, not great. From a staffing appointment, not that great either. We've got some news on that today, this week from Politico too, to talk about, and so they can have someone in charge and try to maybe move on from the Isaacman discussion, because we saw that come to a head over the weekend again with Trump complaining about Isaacman and I guess his Democratic donations again. Isaacman shot back saying, hey, it was never a surprise. It was always in the documents.
He'd known that for a year.
Yeah. And so
can I just jump in for a second?
Yeah, of course.
So there's two schools of perception that I'm hearing from the pundits I talk to. One is, oh, good, they finally brought somebody in to oversee the dismantling and destruction of the space agency we created and love over the last 60 years. And on the other side, well, he's a cabinet level guy. He's got access to the president. He can lift his phone and call him up. He doesn't have to go through a switchboard to get to him, blah, 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 blah. So maybe there's something there. But one of the big questions, as Scooter X pointed out in Discord, is how the hell is this guy going to run DOT, which is already stressed to the limits and understaffed, and NASA? So on the DOT side, they've got, rebuilding FAA infrastructure, bridges, and rail, which, of course, Trump said, he's going to build beautiful bridges. Well, I don't really care if they're pretty. I kind of care if they don't fall apart when I'm driving over them. So there's a lot going on there. And then to hand him the premier space agency on the planet Earth, which has, even if they get the increase, it's still only about 70% of Space Force's budget. Mm-hmm. And I'm sorry, but Space Force, they've got some build out to do, which is understandable. They don't fly people. So why are they getting 30% more money than NASA does in best estimates, or about double what NASA does in the leanest estimates? This is not okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have an answer for you, because this, again, like, I'm trying to figure out how this is going to work. So I see the argument that he'll be there in the cabinet meetings and can say, this is what we're doing at NASA. This is what we need for whatnot. But
hey, China's going to land on the moon next week. Did you guys want to try and maybe get there too? Something
like or how about this black hole research that we have to get out before someone else gets it out, and then they become the first to take a picture of XYZ. I don't know, but it's or how about we honor our partnerships and actually fly Europe's moon rover or
so
Mars
I just
rover.
commissioned an article from a space journalist we both know. We'll see if he decides to do it about. I want to talk to ESA and others, maybe JAXA as well, and say, how do you guys feel about this?
Yeah.
Because if I were you, I wouldn't trust us as far as I could spit, because we keep backing out of programs that we commit to, and China doesn't.
It's funny you should say that, because one of our writers, Daisy Dobrzhevek, just got back from the ESA Living Planet Symposium in Vienna, and heard like a good amount from scientists there who are saying, yeah, we have to step up because the U.S. isn't going to do it anymore. And one of my writers heard at AAS that a lot of scientists are getting, calls from overseas saying, hey, if you're not getting the stuff you need in the U.S., we've got needs for scientists like you, and that and brain drain.
Work for the military, civilian program in China, right? That
brain drain is going to be real. So, but the other thing, the thought that's running in my mind from this naming is it that they're in a normal process, like without all of these layoffs that have been going on, would it have been that there was enough folks kind of keeping the ship running that you could have like that mouthpiece in the cabinet, that mouthpiece administrator in the cabinet that would help steer things, get the money or whatever sorted, and whatnot, while the long term agency staff just kept everything proceeding properly and on track. I could see that argument if there weren't these mass push to get people out of the agency. And I mentioned it earlier, but we could talk about it now a little bit. Politico has a report that says something like 2,100 senior level management type or senior level expertise type employees are leaving NASA, either through reductions, through deferred resignations, through early retirements, from that push, because they don't want to be there anymore, or the agency has pushed them out through these layoff efforts. And that is a substantial loss of expertise, when you're trying to do these big things like go to the moon and everything, spread across the different centers. I guess they all have headcount targets to reduce. I didn't know that until reading that piece, how specific they were. Something like 500 people at Johnson, 500 people at KSC.
And that's a lot at an organization that size, especially when you're talking about senior level. I was talking to some JPL friends a few days ago, and the place is like a morgue. And of course, on top of this,
JPL, there's news
all
there
this and stuff, they're doing a review of JPL's management by Caltech, and that was very alarming to a number of us. Basically saying, hey, we're putting out, this is NASA, we're putting out a request for information, not an RFP, not a request for proposals, but a request for information, which basically means they want you to come in and give them advice for free, and then they ignore you and you never hear from them again, because I've been through that process a couple of times. But a request for information about who should run JPL and how. Now, Caltech's been running JPL since it was JPL. NASA came in the 50s and conjoined, but I think it was 50s or early 60s. And but because of its history, Caltech still ran it for NASA. Now, that's the only field center that works that way, and I can understand why people have some reservations, but it's created this very unique collegiate culture up there that I think to some people, possibly including some people at NASA headquarters, it's elitist and like, Northeastern kind of blue elitist kind of thing.
Well, it's where they dare mighty things, right? So,
but it's created this culture that, NASA did very well overall during the Apollo years, but since then there's been a struggle. The stuff you see JPL do, and I'm a little biased, but I mean, when you've got rovers that work for 15 years, when you've got orbiters that work for longer, close to 20, when you've got Voyagers coming up on 50 years, you have to respect what they do. Is it inexpensive? No. Is it reasonable? It depends on how you look at it.
Does it work?
But it is simply remarkable, and it's the envy of the entire planet. So to gut a place like that, there's a few senior managers I can think of that probably it's beyond time for them to consider retirement. But those aren't the ones that are going to leave. They're going to keep soaking up paychecks as long as they can.
We should note two things. Number one, when Rod says that he might be biased, it's because he worked there at Caltech and JPL for a number of
partly
years, right?
that,
So,
and partly
but also
because I
just want to mention we saw that at NASA Watch, which is doing a fine job tracking all of these things that is coming down from
Keith Cowing.
Management, from management and from the agency, the directives that they're getting. So, hat tip to NASA Watch and Keith there for that spot. So,
who's able to extract and pass along the ugliest of news.
Hey, if you enjoyed this clip, be sure to check out This Week in Space. You can find us on your favorite podcast app or see the link in the description below. See you there.